What
And
about so
I,
many parents here say, I'm trying to get my kid to go out and get a job. I'm trying to get my kid
yeah,
to clean up to get their own place, to pay their own
yeah,
bills. I'm trying. Because a lot of people said, I want to ask about how this pertains to adult children or how this
yeah.
pertains to siblings who won't help me caregive for my parent. Are you saying just let
No,
them
well, first of all, a lot of people are like, wait, I'm supposed to just let them like walk all over. No, you're already doing that. You're already letting them walk all over you and ignore you. So the issue isn't caring about somebody doing better. It's a beautiful thing to want your adult kids to thrive. It is a beautiful thing to want your siblings to step in and help. You should want those things for yourself. That's not the issue. The issue is how you and I have been going about it. We have been working against the hardwiring of human beings. And so I want to teach you a couple fundamental takeaways that I learned in researching this book that I didn't know until 2 years ago. Number one, every human being has a hardwired need for control. And it is never, ever, ever going to change. You need to feel in control of your thoughts, of your decisions, of your future, of what's happening at work, of what you're eating tonight, of the environment around you. And the problem is that when somebody else's behavior worries you or hurts you or frustrates you, it makes you feel out of control. And then we step over the line and we try to control the other person so we feel better and more in control ourselves.
Right.
But here presents the problem. Maria, if I'm like, Maria, you're not motivated enough. Maria, you're not helping enough. I'm now pushing against your need to feel in control of yourself. And so my attempts to get you to do something, even if I'm like doing it in a nice way, I'm buying you gifts, I'm talking about your potential, all that kind of that stuff, even in the positive with the best of intentions, you're
Right.
no dummy. Like if you're somebody that struggles with your health and I'm like, "Hey Maria, you'd feel great if you did yoga. I just love yoga." You're like, "Oh, thanks Einstein," as if I'd never thought about the fact that if I exercise, I'm going to feel better. And so you push against somebody's attempt to tell you what to do. This is how human beings are wired. So you will never, ever, ever motivate somebody else by worrying about them, by expecting more of them, by demanding or making or forcing or pressuring. It does not work. They may do something once to shut you up, but it will never create lasting change because the second thing we've talked about is people only change when they feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the third thing that I didn't understand is that the other wiring in the human brain is that human beings default to what's easy right now. And we actually actively resist what's hard. This is why we sit on the couch instead of going to the gym. It's easier. This is why we push off paying the bills. It's easier. Changing your life requires you to do something that is hard now, which means you have to want to. In fact, there's this saying in addiction psychology that the experts kept saying to me as I was researching this book, which is that people only get sober when being drunk is harder than doing the very hard work to face what you're running from. And it makes a lot of sense. And the other thing I'm going to offer before I tell you the technique you're going to use is that, we look at people that aren't as successful as we think they should be or aren't as motivated as we think they should be. And we think that they don't care or that they're lacking willpower and motivation. It's actually
Mhm.
the opposite. The hardest working person in a classroom is the kid who's failing. The hardest working friend of yours with their health is the one who's struggling with it. People know when they're not reaching their potential.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
People
absolutely.
who are struggling are constantly thinking about the fact that they're letting themselves down. They are in deep conflict and friction with themselves. They are not stuck and unmotivated. They are trapped in this tension between where they're at and constantly feeling that they're letting themselves down. And a lot
Yeah.
of times, what's missing for the person that you're trying to pressure to change is the belief that it's actually going to work. So why bother? What's missing is hope. And then you and I come marching up the stairs to our adult kids to bark about the resume and to get off Xbox as if they don't know that they need to work on their resume to get a job. It just adds more shame, which is creating the standoff. And so here's how you're going to use the let them theory. First of all, you got to say, let them learn from life, let them fail, let them struggle, let them flunk out, let them run out of money, let them, because every expert says that learning from the consequences of their decisions is a critical part of somebody feeling the internal motivation and pain that is required to want to change for yourself. And so that's an important thing, is to understand that this is very important, that it's their idea, and a certain amount of struggle and pain is critically necessary. So I said you couldn't change them, but I never said you couldn't influence them. So I'm going to teach you a 3-part conversation that you're going to have. This is so sneaky. You're going to love it. They're not even going to see this coming. So I call this the ABC loop because it's easy to remember and you're going to have to keep looping and repeating it. Okay. So A is this: you're going to apologize. You are going to apologize for pressuring the person. You're going to apologize for harping on them and being annoying and controlling. You're going to just say, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. It must be awful to have me just nagging you. I'm sorry I put pressure on you. And then comes the second A: ask open-ended questions, because you probably haven't. You're going to literally, after you apologize, Maria, you're going to say, you know, I realize I've never even asked you, how do you feel about your health? How do you feel about your job situation? How do you feel about your grades, or about the fact that you're still living at home? And here's what the experts say: it doesn't matter what they say.
Right.
Because what the open-ended questions are designed to do is to reveal this tension internally between what they know to be true about what they want and where they actually are. That tension between the inaction and the truth that they want more for themselves. Because I choose to believe that the people that you love, they do want to be happy. They do want to thrive. They do want to get good grades. They do want to feel good about their lives and where their lives are headed. They're trapped in this belief that it's not going to matter, so why bother? And so you're going to just ask open-ended questions. And if they just like, fine, great. Okay, so what makes you feel fine about it? And if it's not really going anywhere, no problem. You're going to ask this question. It comes from Dr. Stuart Ablon, Harvard Medical School, 30 years at Mass General Brigham, which is the #1 research hospital in the world, child psychologist. You ask this: have you thought at all about what you might want to do about it? Because now you're not making them doing anything. You're working with them. And again, you're not going to talk, no advice. You're just apologize, ask open-ended questions. I like to have these conversations in a car because they're trapped. And also because we're not looking at each other, so it doesn't feel intense. And then there's this science around the motion called forward ambulation that actually opens up thinking. And so these are great conversations as you're driving. And then the B is back off. You got to back off. This is the let them part. Let them, because it's going to take at least 3 to 6 months for the influence and all of this to take over. And I want to tell you a quick story to just nail this. So Maria, let's say you and I are working together. Okay. And every day at lunch, I'm working like a psycho at my computer and I'm shoving a sandwich down my throat. And you get up because you're smart and you take great care of yourself and you go outside for a walk. And then you come back and you look refreshed and it's amazing. And I see you do this every single day for a month. One of these days, I'm going to look up at lunch and I'm going to look out the window and I'm going to put my sandwich down and shut my laptop. And I'm suddenly going to go for a walk. But here's the interesting thing. I'm going to think it's my idea, but it was actually your influence.
Right.
And that brings us to C. While you're backing off, you got to think about Maria on her walk. You got to model positive change. You cannot ask somebody to stop drinking while you're pouring wine at dinner. You cannot ask somebody to get in shape while you're blowing off exercise. You have to model the change and you have to make it look fun and easy and without rubbing it in their face, just like refresh, fun, whatever. And any move they make forward, any move, all you're going to say, and this is the second C, celebrate. You're going to say, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of you for working on your resume. You're not going to be like, see, I told you that was going to be easy. No, you're going to say, I'm really proud of you. Because that simple, small, positive acknowledgement without that passive aggressive, I told you so, again, creates the space for somebody to feel like it's their idea and that they're being acknowledged and celebrated rather than I told you so. And so that's it, ABC. That's the way you influence somebody.